Since 1893, the International Association of Chiefs of Police has been shaping the future of the policing profession. Coming together in California, the IACP annual conference is the largest educational and technology exposition in the world. Welcome back to the third thrilling day here at the IACP annual conference. I'm Stephen Horn. As the IACP is committed to advancing communities through thoughtful, progressive police leadership, IACP TV is equally committed to bring it all to you. You can always find the latest IACP TV episode on the TVs throughout the convention centre, on the in-house channels at several of our partner hotels, on the IACP meeting homepage, on the IACP meeting app, and on our YouTube and X pages, formerly known as Twitter. So focusing on the I in IACP now, how exactly does the IACP manage international policing issues? In studio now is IACP Director Vince Hawkes and International Vice President Liam Price to discuss. Well, first of all, thank you ever so much indeed for coming to join us today. It's greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you for having us.
So, as an international organisation, the IACP International, how important is it that, and how do you go about shaping the future of policing?
I think the way that we go about it is by getting as many voices to the table as absolutely possible. And we've seen over the last number of years more and more international voices at the table of the IACP, and you know, that I think is making it a more and more international organization.
Why is it important for the policing profession to have an international perspective?
Well, for a number of reasons. First of all, for you to have an international perspective, you have to have the desire and the infrastructure and the support from the leadership, the leadership that's around the board of directors. So that's what we've had, number one. And with that, then has allowed us to look at the global picture in a different way. It means we support to have an office in Abu Dhabi, for example. We opened an office in Korea. We're looking at opening an office in Canada. Every time that we do that, we're engaging in those local areas, those local regions, which then allows us to develop that network even more in order for us as an IACP Global Policing Division. It's just a massive network. And what we want to do is you want to have all of those perspectives. So we're being pushed out of the borders of the United States into the rest of the world, and then that allows us to bring those individuals back into the IACP and build membership, build support, build training, all of the things that IACP does well.
And Stephen, I think we face common threats. I mean, at the end of the day, and so if we don't face them together, we stand to lose alone, and that's why we need to be international.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's such a great point. So what are some of the kind of common threats, common themes that you see?
I think you'll see walking through the annual general meeting this week, almost all of the topics are transnational, whether it's cyber, whether it's violence against children, whether it's extremism and terrorism, whether it's transnational organized crime. It's in the name, transnational organized crime. There is almost nothing that is solely local anymore. And so if we don't draw on information and expertise from one another, then we're really on an island by ourselves.
Yeah. And as we traveled this year, like in the many, many countries that we toured around, the president of IACP and the global director, we're focused on what are the trends and what are the challenges that are facing around the world. And what we found was that there's a common link. So everybody is worried about the transnational drug issues associated to what's happening in the US from the fentanyl perspective, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and other areas of the world that haven't seen that yet, but they can learn from the US. So when you think about things like that, when you think about officer safety and wellness, it's a high priority. The officers can't do their job if they're worried about the stresses of the job and the physical challenges and the mental challenges, and all of that on top of them trying to perform in an environment that is totally different, the world environment that we're in now. So we see themes all across the board, not only from the criminality side, but also dealing with officers' safety and wellness themselves.
Because my last question is this: a lot of people will be, very interested in what you have to say this weekend, and as you say, a lot of progress has been made. To make more progress, what do you need people to do? How do you want people to engage with you?
So go to a session, get engaged, ask questions, contact Vince, contact myself. We would love more active participation from international partners and from international law enforcement. We've made significant efforts to translate as many of the IACP materials as possible in a number of languages. We can always look at more if needs be. And so it's a pretty open door. It's a pretty big tent, and we'd love to have people in it.
See, we're in 173 different countries around the world. So if you can imagine the culture, the language, and the traditions of all those countries, IACP has the ability to bring that together. Right. And by doing that, we can have events like this. We have 27 committees. Every one of those committees has an element of international participation. So those folks that are out there wondering, hey, what can I do to participate more? Like Liam says, the sessions are fantastic, but there's an international lounge. You're connecting with these international folks. It's incredible when you see all the flags of all the countries, when you walk through IACP and you see, wow, the global reach is incredible now.
Well, thank you both very much indeed for joining us today. It's really fascinating, so thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time to kick off today's tour of departments now. Evanston Police Department in Illinois is pioneering a new style of policing, one that connects to the community and employs a problem-solving philosophy to public safety.
I think uniquely, Evanston is an extremely diverse community, all walks of life that respect each other. And I think one of the things I wanted to focus on was building back that respect and trust with the community and being transparent.
Everything that involves a police officer does not need to result in someone being arrested. Sometimes we can talk it out. So community policing officers really get down and work with neighborhoods, with groups, with community partners.
I want people to understand that we should not be afraid to call the police if something were to happen. And I think that the police department is in this really good time where they are repairing harm that has been caused in the past.
Here at the Evanston Police Department, we take advantage of any and all opportunities to engage the public. And I think that's been key to our success in the last 11 months.
Irvine Police Department has created an incredible new cultural immersion sabbatical program to enhance officers' understanding of other cultural norms, values and traditions. Let's see how it works.
The Irvine Police Department was formed back in 1975. They came up with a motto, and the motto was in partnership with the community. So when you think about it, the Irvine Police Department was practicing community-oriented policing before community-oriented policing was even a thing.
The Cultural Immersion Program is actually a service project. I'll have an opportunity to go out to Ghana in Africa and work for 2 weeks at an orphanage.
I think the immersion program is really important because it shows a different view of society. I think that we get stuck here in our city and we get used to certain things and we think that that's how it is everywhere, and then when you go somewhere else you realize, oh wow, the world is big.
I've been with the department for nearly 2 years now, and the culture, the chief was one of the big reasons I came over here. The opportunities that the city offers, the PD especially, it's second to none.
I'm very optimistic. I believe that this department is definitely headed in the right direction. I hope to be part of it for many more years to come and pass the baton on to those that will continue building our reputation and what we have established throughout the decades.
Building trust is key to having a successful department. And with a new campaign, the IACP is focusing on 6 key action items. John Letterly and Dwight Henninger join us in the studio to elaborate on the trust building campaign. Well, first of all, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come talk to us today. We appreciate it, so thank you.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Now, so talking about the Building Trust campaign, first of all, let's kick off. What is it?
So the whole idea is, it was really clear to me as I was developing my priorities as the incoming president last year, that trust was an issue with policing around the world, not just here in the States. And so trying to find a way to make that work for everyone and give people the basic tools to know how to do that, because I think for many chiefs, it's tough to know what should I do to build trust in my community.
But you are right, aren't you? I mean, it is almost the seminal issue of, not even just in policing, but all public communities around the world, isn't it?
That's for sure.
So what have you seen come out of it?
So the focus has been this year on the trust building campaign. And everything IACP does is still important, and it's still things that we work on, but we're doing that under the umbrella of the trust building campaign. So early on in this IACP year, we were really kind of advertising. We were talking about it. We were doing presentations really around the world at different conferences and conventions and meetings. Pretty much any audience we had, where it was appropriate, we were talking about trust building and what the focus areas were, and the action items, and how agencies could build trust by taking these simple steps. And we also found that most agencies are doing a lot of this anyway. So where they were doing it, the advantage of the program was that they were able now to go through an exercise which would help them document how they were doing it and then be transparent to their communities. And so as the year went on, I noticed a shift. And where it started was not a lot of knowledge around the campaign, but questions and interest, which was good. But about midway through the year, I was hearing more people talking about trust, more police leaders around the world recognizing the importance of building trust in their communities and how that would help them keep officers safe, how it would help them serve their community, enhance the quality of life, enhance public safety, and operationally make things much better. And so that shift, to me, was very telling in that agencies now and police leaders globally saw the importance of trust building and were finding ways to indoctrinate that into their agencies.
And the 6 pillars are pretty intuitive in a lot of ways, but some people might not know the best way to do things. So the staff of IACP has built out and put on the website, around those 6 areas, lots and lots of toolkits and stuff to help them be more successful in dealing with these issues. Promising practices from all over the world that people can draw on that if they're just not sure how to handle one of those specific tasks.
It's also quite impressive, isn't it, when you have taken that position for 5 years to really focus the resources of an organization as powerful as this on, a very, very important issue, how much you can actually get done.
I think it speaks to the importance of the trust building campaign, but everything that is within it, the focus areas and so on. And there is this consensus around the importance of those topic areas, and that to build trust, we as police leaders need to address each one of them. And so I think that message is clear, and the IACP and our leadership is very clear about the importance of that, and that we truly believe this is going to enhance public safety and enhance agencies' ability to serve.
Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. I'm looking forward to having the same conversation next year, and we can see what progress has been made. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And in keeping with that theme, my next guest once said, for a police department to be effective in their community, they have to be so connected to that community. Hugh Clements, Director of the COPS Office, is here now to expand on that sentiment. Well, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you ever so much indeed for joining us. It's a great conference here in San Diego, isn't it?
I always look forward to the IACP conference, but it's even better in San Diego. So greetings from the COPS office.
So give us just give us a little bit of an overview of the work of the COPS office.
So the COPS office provides some great resources to the field, not only in the form of grants, but also in the realm of technical assistance and resources, publications, online publications, and training. So there are 3 main buckets that we provide many resources to men and women in the field, but executives in law enforcement in their communities. We work very closely with the community aspect of policing. And as well, we've had a great relationship with the International Association Chiefs of Police.
Tell us a little bit more about that relationship that you do have with the IACP, because I know you were a chief for many years yourself.
Yes, so I spent 38 years in the field, Providence police officer. I spent the last 12 as chief of police. I've been a long-time member of the IACP. I served on the SACOP committee for several years, and the resources provided by IACP to law enforcement executives around the country is integral. You know, it's important. They give invaluable practical advice and resources to the field, very similar to what the COPS office does. So I think it's perfect synergy and a perfect partnership that you have IACP and COPS aligned on many of the resources that we feed and fuel the field on. And there are just so many, but it's important because many of these agencies, as we all know, there's about 18,000 police agencies in the United States, and they have great needs in not only large cities, mid-sized cities, small and rural, territorial police, tribal nation police, and IACP covers each one of those arenas, and as well the COPS office does. So it's really a good partnership.
So we all know that the world of law enforcement gets ever more complex, and the challenges that face men and women in the field, you know, grow all the time. How important is it for you that the COPS office reaches out to those smaller police departments who may not traditionally have the resources that some of the bigger ones do?
So I come from a mid-sized city police department. That was my whole career, and I'm learning in my 9 months in this role that it's really important. It is integral to their work, and they probably rely on the federal resources and the IACP even more so than big cities and mid-sized cities in this country. So it's important that we lend an ear to those communities. I've been on the road quite a bit, including to the Sri Lanka conference, the small and rural law enforcement executives. They really rely on the resources provided by the federal government. And the COPS office provides resources in the realm of not only in crime prevention efforts, but as well in community policing initiatives, all to enhance operational effectiveness in those communities, and most importantly these days, building trust in the communities that we serve. And these are all pillars and components that are integral and important to the IACP messaging. So again, we're just in synergy with the same messaging and the same outreach to the communities.
That's such a good point, and you know, the Building Trust campaign is as you know, sort of integral to the IACP, not just now, but into the future. So my final question to you, you've been in the job 9 months, hit the ground running. How do you see this going from here? What are you focusing on now?
So look, much of it will be the same, but the field is constantly evolving. And the mission in policing, whether you're a big city, mid-sized city, or again a small agency, is to reduce crime, fear, and disorder. I think once again, with the tragedies around the world, I think it will include once again Homeland Security. I think in the future, I know after 9/11, policing went towards that front in local policing, and I think it will again. And as well, just training. Training will be key, education, outreach to the community. Policing will always be about partnerships and connections in the community. And that communication, we can't do enough of it. And look, I've always said, no matter where you're from, you wear a patch with the name of your community on your shoulder. We serve that community, and what are the needs of your particular community? You know, all politics is local, all policing is local too.
Thank you ever so much for joining us today. It's been great, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Focusing on maintaining that trust, the Bensalem Town Police Department embodies one simple statement: the police are the public and the public are the police. Let's see that motto in action.
The Bensalem Police Department is a leader in law enforcement in the state of Pennsylvania. Over the past 30 years, we've built tremendous bridges with our community. An example of that is just our police hiring. We work with members of the community, the NAACP in particular, to interview potential applicants.
When they come in for an interview, the police officer might see a police officer. I'm looking at a person. I want to be able that person to be a professional, courteous, approachable, and the very best of the best.
We have a PAL program that's unique. We're the only one in our county that has approximately 900 kids all year round. So we're constantly interacting with the youth, which is vital in today's society.
One of the biggest pluses that I have seen is watching kids that went through a program become police officers right here in Bensalem Township, wanting to give back to the community, and to me that's something special.
Showing a humane side of policing, along with coaching and helping to bridge the gap between policing and the youth, I think it's very important, and I'm proud to be a participant of that on both sides of it.
Chief of Police Manuel Morales is on a mission to make Miami the safest city in America. Let's see how he and his department are working daily to do just that.
Miami Police Department is a fantastic agency filled with incredible, brave men and women that work hard each and every day, put their lives on the line to keep the city they love safe.
They're incredibly professional, they're hardworking, they care. Whenever you're in an urban environment, it's tougher and it's more dynamic. And they handle their job with class and grace and dignity.
The Miami Police Department has come a long way in terms of violent crime and the rate at which we solve violent crimes. And we've just grown by leaps and bounds in terms of our ability to prevent violent crime and solve violent crime. And so we're now one of America's safest cities.
So as we finish out the year, we're looking at historic lows with a reduction of 40% in murders, a reduction of almost 50% in all our shootings. So we are going to see a much safer, more beautiful, and a hugely incredible popular city. The gateway to the Americas, the city of Miami. Come on down and check us out.
The Wagner County Sheriff's Department, a force that has achieved a remarkable 50% reduction in crime rates. How have they done it? Let's take a look.
Wagner County is the 7th largest county in the state of Oklahoma by population. We consist of 568 square miles. Oklahoma is a beautiful state, Wagner County is a beautiful county, and we're seeing an influx of people moving into this county, which puts a strain on law enforcement. So we look at technology as a force magnifier here in Wagner County. As a result, we've seen over a 50% reduction in overall crime in this county since 2016.
The quality of the equipment that the deputies have to operate and use on a day-to-day basis is far and above much better. I would say we compete with some of the metropolitan cities around us. It's had a big impact on how the deputies interact with the community and their attitudes towards the community.
Violent crime is exponentially down. Narcotics activity is exponentially down in this county. And so what we've seen is a drastic drop in crime in this county. It's an extremely safe county to live in, which I think is why it's a magnet for people wanting to move into this county.
Christina Rose now, she's the Director of the Office of Victims of Crime at the Department of Justice and was appointed by President Biden.
The Office for Victims of Crime at the Department of Justice has been working with IACP since, I believe, 2003. So for decades, we have been in close partnership with IACP. And it has been so important for our office, but also for the victim services field. Because when you work with IACP, you know that you have the trust from law enforcement. And you know that you're going to be more effective in working with law enforcement and bringing in the victim services piece that way. So, for example, we have worked with IACP on so many different initiatives, but probably the one that was the most important, because it kind of served as the foundation for everything, is the Enhanced Law Enforcement Response to Victim Services Program, or we call it the ALERV program. And really, it's about creating community trust between police and victims who come in contact with the police. Because when you know how to work in a trauma-informed, victim-centered way with victims, it has a benefit for not just the community at large and not just for that survivor or victim of crime, but it really does help to build those relationships and build that trust within the community, between the community and the police. The benefits of taking a victim-centered, trauma-informed approach to working with crime victims is that, number one, it creates trust between the community and law enforcement. Number two, it enables victims to feel like they can participate in the criminal justice system without fear, really. And that is a benefit for law enforcement because it means their case is most likely to go forward for prosecution when you have that participation. And then for police, I mean, having, say for example, a victim services unit in your police department enables you to have trained professionals in the department that can take the burden off of police in working with victims to make sure that they are connected with the services that they need. And that is so critically important. And we can't expect the police to be all things to all people. So we know that in departments where they have victim services units, they really wonder what they did before they had them.
And one more amazing resource at your disposal, Mentor Match. This program aims to connect those in the policing profession with peers for professional guidance and advice. Megan Stoltz explains just how.
Mentor Match is the latest addition to IACP Engage. It's a feature that lets users search for and connect with mentors and mentees. It's user-driven, so users can look for specified criteria that they're most interested in, and users must elect into Mentor Match. Mentoring can help enhance professional development. Mentoring is related to more engagement on the job and career success, as well as mental health and well-being, and it can be related to reduced turnover as well. A while back, IACP had a mentoring program specific to new chiefs. Mentor Match kind of builds on that idea, but it's open to people of all ranks and all roles. So if you're a new supervisor, for example, you might learn from somebody with more experience who's not necessarily a chief. Or if you are a new chief, Mentor Match can help you connect with other chiefs across the country, outside of your neighboring jurisdictions. All IACP members are eligible for Mentor Match, so that includes all ranks, all positions, sworn officers, as well as researchers, consultants, retired police officers. Anybody who's an IACP member can join Mentor Match. It's user-driven, so it's really up to the users what's required specifically. Mentor Match can be used for more traditional long-term mentoring, or it can be used for short-term, project-specific consultations. And so the database in Mentor Match helps users find one another, but once they connect, it's largely up to the mentor and the mentee, depending on the goals of that relationship, how often they meet and how long that relationship continues. Well, you can enroll by going to IACP Engage. If you have an existing IACP Engage account, you can use your existing credentials, and there should be a tab on the homepage that says Mentor Match. If you haven't used IACP Engage, then you can enroll at IACPEngage.com/mentoring. And again, your existing IACP credentials will work, so we'd love to have you join. You can enroll on IACP Engage at engage.theiacp.org/mentoring. And you can use your existing IACP credentials to log in.
Standing as a model of policing excellence, the Reno Police Department emphasizes intelligence-led policing to promote public safety.
The city of Reno is a unique community. It is about 120 square miles, so we are spread out. We have areas to the south all the way up into the North Valleys, and we have a very thriving and robust downtown and midtown area. So this creates policing opportunities to have a different thing happen to you every single day. So the partnerships that we're creating and forging and moving forward with, they're going to last for a lifetime. They're going to last for generations to come on how we can better serve our communities by fully integrating in them and understanding what their needs are. The difference between the Reno Police Department and other police departments is I am not telling our officers how to go out and police in communities. I'm asking them, find out what that community needs, find out how we can better help them, and then find out what they can do to help us in our endeavors to make it a safer community for all.
For the first time in 200 years, the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department has appointed its first outside chief. Take a look at how Chief Robert Tracy's philosophy on policing is changing that city.
When you have a city that 90% of the homicides is by gunshot, then you have to go after the trigger pullers. And these trigger pullers, when you start to get them off the street, then the whole city starts to become safer. In the 9 months that I've been in here, our officers are doing a tremendous job in bringing crime down, and it's a city that's getting safer. This is the time to build that trust and make sure we can move this noble profession forward. Now, as the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department's chief, I'm the first outsider in 200-year history.
Well, I'm very excited. He brings a fresh look and fresh set of eyes at stuff we've been doing for over 100 years. So it's really nice, the new programs that he's initiated. He brings more resources to the table that we have never had. His ability to initiate a new type of CompStat really has helped us out a lot, so we can really address crime in a fast and easier way than we did before.
I'm privileged to be in this position to make a difference in people's lives that need us the most. It's a calling. It's a calling. It's a life of service. And so many people want to do that. That's why I think St. Louis is going to do very well.
That does it for us for day 3. There's still a 4th full day ahead here on IACP TV. But if you happen to miss any of today's episodes, well, there are plenty of ways to catch up. You can always find the latest IACP TV episode on the TVs throughout the convention centre, on the in-house channels at several of our partner hotels, on the IACP Meeting homepage, on the IACP Meeting app, and on our YouTube and X pages, formerly known as Twitter. Thanks for joining us here today on IACP TV. We'll be back here tomorrow, but I'm afraid I have to go. All right, boys, pick me up.